What is decorum? That comes out all the time. Decorum are the internal rules by how members treat each other. That's all they are. These rules go back hundreds of years in many cases, and the idea is actually very simple, although there's a lot of minutia in there. The idea is simple. You speak to ideas, not people. You address policies, not personalities. The decorum rules are meant to depersonalize conflict because tempers can get heated. People can get very passionate. And we want to make sure that people are not attacking each other for all kinds of reasons. Even though sometimes that's kind of fun to watch, it's a bad thing. We don't want it. It's not a good way to treat people, and it also ends up eating up a lot of valuable time. Remember, they only have 105 days or 60 days to do their business. They need to stay focused on the issues. Decorum relates to all of that, how they treat each other. So if you're watching on TV, you may find that in certain chambers, they don't use each other's names. They're not allowed to. Now, over the years, that rule has eroded. They were supposed to just be talking to the gentle lady from the 26th district or the good gentleman from the 5th district, so that they're never using names, so that it never gets personal. Problem with that is nobody can remember all the ledge districts, or at least very few people do. Decorum is how they treat each other. They're not allowed to impugn each other, and they're not allowed to attack motives. And those are kind of the same thing. Impugn basically means, or attacking somebody personally means calling names, saying something nasty. But the other thing they're not allowed to do is assign a motive for why somebody's doing something.
The intent of those who brought this bill forward is a good intent with data privacy at its core.
The members should not speak to others' intentions, either good or bad.
Oh.
Please speak to the policy of the amendment.
They are supposed to treat everything as in good faith, as if every idea is equal and we're looking at them and that nothing is offered for any bad reason. You may think the person is offering an amendment or an idea for a quote-unquote negative reason, but you don't really know what's going on in their minds. Decorum rules are designed so that we don't get into that. We assume everybody is acting with a good motive and everybody is entitled to respect, and we address ideas, not people. That's what the decorum rules refer to.
My name is Sapphire Ordonez from Mount Vernon, Washington. In my research, I learned that the Climate Commitment Act generates significant funds through carbon auctions. Some have suggested that revenue from the Climate Commitment Act can be used to help address Washington's budget deficit, while others argue that it should be strictly reserved for climate-related purposes. What do you think should be done and why?
You know, I think that's a great question, and I think we could make a lot of great policy reasons why, or mediocre policy reasons why it might make sense to use Climate Commitment Act dollars for things that aren't necessarily climate related, especially if we're just doing it temporarily to get us through the next budget deficit. But I think it's actually coming down to a political decision. And I think one of the things we need to keep in mind is that the voters voted to retain the Climate Commitment Act with really high approval ratings. I was really proud of what our state did, and that was on the assumption about how these revenues were going to be spent. They wanted to make sure that these revenues were spent on green investments, on moving us away from carbon dioxide emissions and a polluting economy. And so I think it's really important that we honor that commitment from the voters, from the legislature, and keep those monies in the climate space.
Sapphire, that's an incredible question. Your timing is impeccable. Thank you for asking it. In a big picture, Washington State passed the Climate Commitment Act a couple years ago, and rough wag, the Climate Commitment Act has generated about $4.3 billion, where anybody that emits larger amounts of CO2 have to buy the carbon credits on the open market. The state gets that money supposedly to then invest in reducing CO2. What we have learned very recently was that the State Department of Ecology issued a report saying, I think, 8.3 million metric tons of CO2 had been saved through the Climate Commitment Act. And so that is a reasonable return on the investment from many people's perspective who support the Climate Commitment Act. Well, what we just found out a week or so ago was, oops, the Department of Ecology had an error, and that in reality it was like 83,000 metric tons of CO2 were actually reduced for that $4.3 billion that it's been raised. And if you look at it, it's almost, not exactly, but almost zero reduction in CO2 because of those carbon credits. Well, anybody, I would hope, would say, how can we have spent that much money and reduced almost no CO2? From a value perspective, $4.3 billion for zero reduction, total waste of the people's money. And so I think the conversation needs to be, okay, how committed are we to reducing CO2, and where can we get the best value for the people's money? Clearly something isn't working right in the way either the Climate Commitment Act is working, the carbon credits, or needs to retool if that is the actual goal we want to go. Number two, and an important part of your question, is the reality of, with $4.3 billion, that's a heck of a bucket of money. In fact, rough wag, little over 5% of the entire state budget on an annual basis. That's a lot of money. An awful lot of people are trying to get their hands into that kitty. One of the problems we've seen from my perspective, and again, I'm a freshman legislator, so still learning lots, but that it has gone to fund an awful lot of government programs, some education, a lot of bureaucracy, and if those dollars are not going to actually reducing CO2, I think that's what the people want. And so if we're not doing what the people want, then we need to pull back the program. Do we need to retool it, or do we eliminate it? One of the questions in my mind is, hey, based on that last release where we allegedly eliminated almost CO2, is this the wrong solution? Is this a bad solution? One of the components of the Climate Commitment Act is that all of our energy prices have gone up as a result of that. In my district, the Clark Public Utilities gets about 35% of its electricity from a natural gas plant. While over a third of our electricity, Clark Public Utilities has to compete in the open market, spending money to buy the carbon credits that the state issues, and that drives up people's utility bills. And I am hearing from an awful lot of my constituents that their electric bills are getting unaffordable. Different from that, Northwest Natural Gas, a lot of people heat their homes with natural gas. They have to buy the carbon credits. And again, natural gas for home heating is going up. People are saying their total utility bills are unaffordable, less affordable. We just heard a bill the other day in the Environment and Energy Committee about trying to provide relief to poor people, low-income people, because their utility bills are unaffordable. And how do we do that? The core of it is the Climate Commitment Act credits that the big producers have to go buy. They pass that cost on to the users, and that's making our state less affordable. So I'm hoping there will be a wonderful conversation amongst legislators about, are we actually delivering value with the Climate Commitment Act money, or are we making our state less affordable and negatively impacting so many people? So that's going to be a big challenge for the use of those climate commitment dollars going forward. And again,
you fit right in. Yeah, you won't want to see this for 3 days. I don't want to see it for 3 days. We know we were having our dogs and all that. My husband was helping, and so I knew we took the suitcases out, so I just let it go. And I thought, that's done. And we were getting out of the car here, I'm like, so well.
Okay. Good evening, Democrats. Good evening, Democrats. Happy Juneteenth, everybody. We have, the speaking program is going to start a little bit later, but in order to start our program, we wanted to invite up Pastor Walter Kendricks, who is going to lead us in an invocation and blessing of the food to start our event.
There you go. Right. Good evening. It is my charge to do the prayer and bless the food, but y'all eating already, so. First the prayer or the invocation and then blessing of the food. So if we may bow, pause, whatever your tradition is. O Lord, our Lord, how excellent is thy name in all the earth. We praise thee, O Lord, for thy presence among us this evening, a presence that, according to your undying and everlasting word, will never leave us or forsake us. We give thanks to thee for bringing all these participants to this spot and to this place and time safely. We pray safe passage for those yet to arrive and for those who had a desire to be here, but for whatever reason, they couldn't. Now, even now, we pray your blessing on not only this evening, but this weekend's activities for the Democratic Party of the great state of Washington. We pray your blessing be upon the meetings, the sessions, the workshops, all of the activities this weekend. I pray that you will open the hearts and the minds, the eyes and the ears of all those participating to the reality of your presence as they make decisions that affect all of us, both now and in the days to come. We pause and we ask forgiveness and mercy in all the areas of our lives where we fall short. Forgive us for our misunderstandings, mischaracterizations, misjudgments. Forgive us for both our commission and omission of those things that are found to be not pleasing in your sight. Not only do we pray for these gathered and their families and their loved ones this evening, but we pray for the faceless ones, the hidden ones, the ones who live in the shadows and on the margins of this great society. We pray for the brokenhearted, the lost, the lonely, the elderly, the sick, the shut-in. Help these who make decisions to be mindful of those less fortunate, those whose voices are unheard, and those especially who have little or no power and influence. Even now, Father, protect us, provide for us, keep us, lead us, guide us, forgive us, love us, and have mercy upon us even now. In your blessed name we humbly pray, amen. And now blessing the food, Father God, we pray your blessing upon this food. We thank you for the hands that prepared it, for the nourishment of these wonderful bodies that you gave us. So now let us enjoy ourselves. We thank thee for thy many and bountiful blessings. Amen. Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you so much, Pastor. Thank you. We will start the program in probably about 10-15 minutes, so enjoy the food, get settled in, and we'll be back in a few. Thank you.
I think that
magnificently restored, and it's a great attraction for local folks, and people come from afar to enjoy an afternoon here. I think it's truly one of my favorite places. This statue on the Bremerton waterfront is very nostalgic to me, and to hundreds of other people here in Kitsap County, I'm sure. It represents our mom or our dad or our brother or our cousin who worked in the Bremerton shipyard during World War II. In many ways, the Bremerton shipyard was the backbone of the Pacific Fleet. After the battle at Pearl Harbor, 6 of the 7 battleships that could be saved were towed here to Bremerton. "35,000 people, workers in the Navy Yard, poured in from all over America. These people worked 3 shifts a day to get them back out to sea and back on our road to victory." My dad often worked 2 shifts a day at the shipyard. He'd get up early in the morning, go in for the first shift, and then stay for the second shift. We wouldn't see him hardly at all. We knew that the work he was doing was extremely important. I can't thank the sailors and the soldiers and the Marines and the airmen enough for their work on the front lines. But let's never forget the people that backed them up, the people that worked in the shipyards and the airfields and the factories all over our country. This represents one of those workers. This statue in this location is truly one of my favorite places. You know, I just love our state's marine highway system. We're blessed with the Washington State ferries. They carry millions of people every year back and forth across Puget Sound, and they serve almost every county in western Washington. For some people, the ferry system is just a way to get to work. For others, it's a place to bring their cousins from out of town who are visiting and want to show them something beautiful here in Washington State. For some, it's a lifeline to medical services off their island or needed hospital visit. The history of the ferry system is varied. There was a wide variety of vessels, private competitors, serving different routes up and down Puget Sound. When the state bought the system in the 1950s, they found themselves with an assortment of old boats from diesels all the way back to steam. Now we have modern, efficient, new ferries being constructed for the benefit of our citizens. Sometimes I hear complaints about the ferry system. Maybe a boat's not on time or it was overloaded, but you never hear a complaint when the boat has to wait for an ambulance from one of the distant islands. Everyone knows that they could be the one in the back of that ambulance someday. Washington State ferries are truly one of my favorite places.
Get up there with that lady that's up on top of this Capitol dome, that lady that stands for liberty. Take a look at this country through her eyes if you really want to see something. You'll see the whole parade of what man's carved out for himself after centuries of fighting.
Bills do not usually die with fiery floor speeches and big, tremendous votes. The way a bill dies is it just never comes up. It never comes up for a hearing. It never comes up for floor action. There's no guarantee that just because a bill was sent to a committee that it will get a hearing. And there's no guarantee that because it got a hearing, it will get a vote. The most common way for a bill to die is just not to be advanced. All those steps I'm talking about and those timelines they got to meet, the most common way for a bill to die is to not meet a step by a timeline. That could include not getting a vote. That could include not getting a hearing. And you may be able to influence that because in my experience, not only can one person make a difference, one person is all who ever makes a difference, from the initial idea to the changes all along. So if you want to make a difference, what you need to do is affect the legislation at a key step. That could be through testifying, that could be through writing a letter, email, or something of that nature where you explain to a chair why a bill is important, why it needs a hearing, why it needs a vote. I'm a paid lobbyist. Members are going to see me all the time. A citizen, a resident, an advocate, they're really going to listen to you. It makes a big difference that you reached out and wrote to them. But if you do that, know what it is you want to do. Know where the bill is and know what you're asking for. If you just are in general support of a bill, that's one letter that you might write. If you want to change, talk about the bill and explain the actual change you want and explain why. And if it's relevant, explain your experience of why you want that change. It can make a big difference.
Bernie Whitebear was the first person that ever talked to me about urban Indians. We spent time together on the streets of Seattle, and he would say to me, Ralph, these people need a home. They need someplace they can go and they know they're safe and they can gather and sometimes could receive maybe medical care or maybe find out more about their own tribe back home, whatever it happened to be. They were from all different tribes, and some from Alaska, some from British Columbia, some from here. And they often found themselves on the streets in our major city of Seattle. Bernie had read the treaties, and he knew that a number of the treaties between the military and the tribes had said if the military ever gives up tribal land that they'd take it from the tribe, that the tribe had a right to take it back. And based on that language, he asked that when Fort Lawton was surplused, that part of it go to the United Indians for all tribes. It took a lot of fighting, it took a lot of protests, it took a lot of convincing, it took a lot of legislative hearings and city council hearings. It took a lot of friends who came in to help, but he succeeded. And today, the Daybreak Star Cultural Center, even though Bernie is long gone, as our friend departed us, it's a tribute to him. A tribute to the work that he did and a tribute to the people he represented. I'm very impressed with the preschool here, the artwork here, and the number of visitors here. It's perhaps one of the most beautiful views in the state of Washington, looking out over Puget Sound and up to Whidbey Island and out west to Suquamish and Bainbridge Island. The Daybreak Star Cultural Center is one of my very favorite places. When you drive from Seattle to Yakima, there's a different route that everybody misses. It's the beautiful and scenic Yakima Canyon Drive. Instead of staying on the freeway to Ellensburg, just veer to the right and follow the old road down the canyon. The Yakima Canyon is an incredible place. The old road went right along the river. You can still take it today as a scenic drive. It's a little slower than the freeway, but it's really worth the trip. In the summertime, you'll see rafters on the river really enjoying the water. And through every season, you'll see different types of activities. People enjoying this scenic and beautiful valley. It's truly one of the most beautiful drives in our state, and it most certainly is one of my favorite places. Washingtonians have been impressed with Fort Gamble for virtually hundreds and hundreds of years. The Native Americans used this site as a gathering point. Captain Charles Wilkes, when he explored Puget Sound, thought it was an ideal anchorage.
With an amazing artist that is from Spokane. She is going to sing the Black National Anthem. That is Olivia Dumas. Woo!
Okay. Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring. Ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won. Thank you.
Let's give it up for Alethea. That was beautiful. Thank you. All right. And to welcome us all, I am so honored that I get to bring up a dear friend and the reason why we're all here together today. That is our amazing Black Caucus Chair, Satin Desiree Arnett.
Thank you. Oh, my goodness.
Woo!
All right, here we go. I feel like this isn't loud. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Juneteenth, a celebration of Black excellence. And tonight, tonight is a night of celebration, a celebration of our ancestors who refused to give up hope, a celebration of those who fought for freedom, dignity, and opportunity when the odds were stacked against them. A celebration of the generations whose courage, sacrifice, brilliance, and resilience made it possible for us to gather here today. Juneteenth reminds us that freedom is not just a moment in history. It's a journey. It's a story that continues to be written by people who dare to dream, to lead, to serve, to create, to build something better for those who come after them. And that is what Black excellence is. It is found in our leaders and our educators, in our organizers and our entrepreneurs, in our artists, our advocates, our elders, and our young people. It is found in the people who open doors, lift others up, and continue moving our communities forward every single day. So tonight we celebrate that excellence. We celebrate the legacy we inherited, the progress we have made, and the future that we're building together. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us in community, and thank you for helping us honor the strength, the beauty, the joy, and the excellence of Black people, past, present, and future. So, all right. So, on behalf of the Washington State Democratic Black Members Caucus, welcome. May we honor the ancestors, celebrate the present, and continue building the future.
Thank you. Yes. Look, we couldn't have more perfect summer weather for today. Thank you to Spokane for welcoming us. And this is our first ever Juneteenth celebration that the state party has ever hosted. So we are so proud. Let this be the first and not the last. Let's keep this going, and it's a joy to be here with all of you. I want to start by thanking Satin, whose leadership continues to challenge us to do more than celebrate Black communities. She pushes our party to invest in them, to uplift them, and make sure our policies work to right historical and ongoing wrongs. Thank you as well to Representatives Nathasha Hill and Kristine Reeves for your leadership and partnership in making tonight possible. Thank you to all of our incredible sponsors, to our state party's Black Caucus, to Attorney General Nick Brown, to, yes, we're gonna hear from him a little later, to WFC, SCIU, the firefighters, the Washington State Labor Council, and the Equity for All Washington PAC. Thank you for helping us to create amazing spaces like this one. So tonight is about more than just a celebration. It is about legacy, it is about resilience, and it is about power. Juneteenth marks the moment freedom finally reached those who had already been declared free 2 years after slavery had already been abolished through law. A reminder that justice delayed is still injustice, and that progress does not move on its own. And yet, here we are in 2026, and in just a matter of a few weeks ago, after the U.S. Supreme Court handed down the Calais decision, Republicans have already eliminated numerous congressional districts held by black leadership. Even when ballots had already been cast in some of those elections. Black history is not separate from American history. Black history is America's story. Our country, at its best and at its worst, struggling to become what it promised to be. And every step forward has happened because people organized for it, because communities marched, because generations refused to accept that the way that things were was how they had to remain. From the Freedom Riders to John Lewis to Shirley Chisholm, Barbara Jordan, and countless local leaders whose names maybe never made history books, progress has always been demanded before it was delivered. And that legacy lives right here in Washington State. In 2020, Washington voters sent Marilyn Strickland to Congress, the first black and Korean elected to Congress by our state. And in 2024, Washington elected Nick Brown, the first black attorney general and the first black person ever elected statewide. Those victories truly matter because representation is not symbolism. Representation changes who is heard. It changes who is seen. It changes what becomes possible. And while others seek to divide, Washington Democrats are choosing something different. Our responsibility now is clear. We organize, we vote in every election, we defend our communities, and we build a country worthy of the generations who sacrificed so much to get us here. Thank you. Despair is not an option. Hope is a discipline. Justice is a calling. And freedom is a fight we intend to win. That is the lesson of Juneteenth. Democracy is never finished. And hope is not something we feel. It is something that we practice. So let us honor those who carried us here by continuing their work. On behalf of the Washington State Democrats, the Black Caucus, and all of our allies, welcome to the Juneteenth celebration of Black excellence. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. And now it is my true honor to get to introduce our next speaker, who is the interim Black Caucus chair of the Legislative Black Caucus. Representative Brandy Donahue serves as a representative for Washington's 44th Legislative District, and she also serves as vice chair to the Transportation Committee and as a member of the Education Committee, Technology, Economic Development and Veterans Committee, and Consumer Protection and Business Committee. A Navy veteran, Donahue worked on aviation weapons and weapons systems on an FA-18 and A-6 aircraft. After her service, she received her bachelor's degree in business administration from UW-Bothell and has worked in real estate, IT, and other fields. Donahue is a community educator, organizer, and volunteer. She serves on a number of local and regional boards and committees, and she is involved in emergency preparedness training and is CERT certified. So with that, Brandy, please come up and join us. Thank you. Thanks for your leadership, Brandy.
Thank you. I even wrote stuff down for you. So hello. My name's Brandy, state rep in the 44th. And one quick thing I want to note. The 44th Legislative District is currently the only serving district with an all-black state delegation. And it's really cool. It's only the second time in history. The last time was like 60 years ago out of Beacon Hill. But it's also really important to note that this is only the second time. It's historic, but it shouldn't be. This is something that we should be seeing all the time. Because there is no reason why we should not be leading. Yep, everyone. So I'm interim vice chair of our Legislative Black Caucus. There are 14 members. It's bicameral. We've got 2 over in the Senate right now, 12 in the House, which means that we make up about 20% of the Democratic caucus in the House. The members of the Caucus are exceptional, every one of them. They've done a lot of work that helps support Black people and communities of color, like the home ownership, the Covenant Home Ownership Program, which helps address racist laws here in Washington that prevented Black people from being able to own homes. This year we codified the Community Reinvestment Fund to ensure that it continues to support communities that have negatively been impacted by the war on drugs. We've got a study to look at reparations. We have been working on equity in cannabis. We've been working on juvenile justice because our children are still disproportionately seen in our criminal justice system, and that is unacceptable. So Juneteenth, it celebrates the emancipation of Black slaves in the U.S., but we all know that's only one step towards freedom. And every time we have started to push towards more freedom, something happens. There's some kind of retribution where we're getting pushed back again, every single time. And it's happening now. So I want to say happy Juneteenth. Welcome. But also, as you celebrate, recognize the responsibility that everyone in this room has to ensure that we do not slide backwards any further, and to make sure that as we move forward, we truly move forward, because nobody's free until everyone's free. And that's what I got. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Take this out. All right, our next speaker is a true organizing powerhouse. Elected to be the leader of the Washington State Labor Council, AFL-CIO, in 2022, April Sims made history as the first woman elected WSLC president and the first Black woman elected president of an AFL-CIO state federation. April leads our state's largest union organization, representing more than 500,000 union members, while supervising its staff in their extremely effective labor actions. The granddaughter of Louisiana sharecroppers and the daughter of a single mom, April has seen firsthand how organized labor changes lives for the better. Her grandfather got a union job in Washington State, which provided dignity and economic stability for her family. Her mom was also a union member who used that position to pull their family out of poverty. April has been a warrior for workers' rights and protections, and her story is emblematic of the power that unions have to lift workers up and set them up for generational success. So let's please get loud for our union sister, President April Sims!
Wow, all right. Well, thank you for that introduction, Shasti, and happy Freedom Day, Democrats. How y'all doing? Well, first, thank you, Satine Desiree and the Black Caucus for inviting me here tonight. Thank you for celebrating Juneteenth, not simply as a day in our history, but as a reminder of our responsibility to shape the future. My name is April Sims. My pronouns are she and her, and I have the privilege of serving as president of the Washington State Labor Council, AFL-CIO. And as Shasti mentioned, I am the first Black woman elected to lead the Washington State Labor Council in our more than 135-year history. And I often think about the generations of people before me whose courage and resiliency made my presence possible. I think about my grandparents who were sharecroppers in rural Louisiana and who, like the generations before them, picked cotton to survive. My grandfather fled the violent and segregated South under the threat of lynching. He joined millions of Black families who left everything they knew and migrated north in search of freedom and justice. His journey was not about geography. It was about dignity, opportunity, and democracy. He wanted the dignity that comes from working hard and making enough money to take care of his family. He wanted the opportunity to build a better life, not just for him, but for his children and his children's children. And he wanted the freedom to vote and fully participate in our democracy. I stand before you tonight because he and the generations before me had the audacity to dream of more for themselves, for their families, and for their communities. They understood that progress doesn't happen because history bends on its own. Progress happens because ordinary people strategize and organize and mobilize to realize the future they dream. That is the story of my family, and that is the story of Juneteenth. Juneteenth reminds us that freedom doesn't arrive on its own. It takes people willing to fight for it, to defend it, and to pass it on to the next generation. Freedom didn't reach enslaved people in Texas until more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed in 1863. Freedom was declared, but it wasn't delivered. Rights were promised, but they weren't yet made real. That lesson remains as relevant today as it was more than 100 years ago, because democracy doesn't arrive on its own either. Every generation is called upon to protect it. And right now, our democracy is being tested. Across this country, basic rights are under attack. Voting rights, workers' rights, civil and human rights. And we know democracy is about more than just voting. It is about the right to organize and protest. Every major expansion of freedom in this country came because ordinary people protested against injustice. They demanded that America live up to its promise. And today we see growing efforts to criminalize dissent, to intimidate activists, and to make people afraid to speak out. And we don't have to agree on every protest or every tactic to agree on this, that a healthy democracy depends on our right to speak out, to challenge injustice, and to demand better for our families and our communities. Democracy, you can give it up for that. Democracy is not the consent of the governed, it is the participation of the governed. The labor movement knows this because the fight for workers' rights, civil rights, and voting rights has always been the same struggle. The same people who fought for the 8-hour workday fought for voting rights. The same people who marched to form unions marched for civil rights. The same people who stood on picket lines stood in line to vote. Our struggles have always been linked. And history teaches us that attacks on voting rights never come alone. When democracy is weakened, every other right becomes vulnerable. And that's why protecting democracy is not just a slogan, it is a commitment. It is a commitment to defending free and fair elections, to protecting the right to organize, to protecting the right to speak out and peacefully protest injustice when and where we see it. A commitment to ensuring that every person, regardless of race or place, income, or background, has an equal voice in our democracy. The truth is, every generation receives democracy as an unfinished project. Our grandparents expanded it, our parents defended it, and now it is our turn. Our responsibility is not simply to celebrate the victories of the past, our responsibility is to build a future where every person has a voice, where every worker has dignity, and our democracy belongs to all of us. That is what Juneteenth asks of us. Juneteenth asks us to not simply remember or reflect, but to act, to close the distance between the promise of our democracy and the lived reality of our people, to make freedom, justice, and democracy real. So tonight, as we celebrate Juneteenth, let us remember that freedom has always depended on ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Let us remember that democracy is not inherited. It is protected and renewed by every generation that chooses to fight for it. And if we leave this room more committed to protecting the right to vote, the right to organize, the right to protest, and the dignity and humanity of every person, then we will be worthy of those who came before us, and we will leave a stronger democracy for those who will follow. Thank you. Happy Freedom Day, and solidarity forever.
Yes, that's right. Standing O. Woo! 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 Thank you so much, President Sims. Love being in this work with you. Thank you so much. Now we're going to keep this rolling. This is a real party. We've got real powerhouses in this space. Our next speaker is our incredible Attorney General. Yes. Woo! As you heard me say earlier, Nick Brown made history in 2024 when we elected him to be the first Black Attorney General in Washington State. He's also the first survivor contestant to also be elected Attorney General anywhere in the country. Since taking the reins from Bob Ferguson at the Attorney General's office, Nick has sued the Trump-Vance administration at a rate of approximately 1 lawsuit per week. Yeah. Not that it's a competition, but that is a faster pace than the other Attorney General before him. So, Nick is a powerful advocate for consumers, civil liberties, environmental protections, and our constitutional rights. As Attorney General, Nick sees his job as holding the powerful to account when they violate our laws and protecting everyday Washingtonians who are working hard to just get by. Nick led Washington's challenge of Trump's blatantly unconstitutional executive order ending birthright citizenship and has fought to protect our vote-by-mail system from dangerous federal overreach. So yes, thank you. His boldness and commitment to service are what makes him one of the absolute best attorney generals in the entire country. I know that I am so, so honored and so glad that we have Nick fighting for us every single day. So let's give it up for our incredible history-making Attorney General, Nick Brown! That was amazing.
Stay up here for a minute.
Okay.
Good evening. I always get nervous when people stand up before I speak. If you feel so inclined at the end of my remarks, then please do. But before Shasti steps aside, you guys may not appreciate how hard of a job it is to be a state party chair. And you guys probably have more insight than anybody else in the state to that work. But I don't want to miss an opportunity to give Shasti her flowers. I have a unique opportunity in talking to my colleagues across the country these days, and I know how much frustration that they have sometimes with their state party chair and team, and I just feel so fortunate to be in Washington, so thank you, Shasti, for your work. And also, you know, it was mentioned in the beginning, and Brandy gave it a little bit of weight, but you may not recognize and appreciate the powerhouse team that we have in the Washington State Black Legislative Caucus. It is not only filled with so many talented people, but it is the largest black caucus west of the Mississippi. Did I get that right? And in this room this evening, Nathasha, Jamila, Kristine, Brandy, wherever you went, back there, I'm so proud to have the opportunity to work with each of those individuals and so thankful for each of you for supporting my work over the last year and a half. So give it up for our caucus, please. And it truly is an honor to be the 19th Attorney General of the state that I grew up in. I have the honor every day of coming to fight and work with all of you on so many issues that are important to Washingtonians and more people across the country. We have the opportunity to fight for equity and justice. We have the opportunity to fight for an economic system that benefits everyone and consumers. We have the opportunity to fight for reproductive care and gender-affirming care, for your right to be safe and to be who you are and love who you are, and the right to fight for your voting rights and to make sure that our system maintains its integrity despite what we see from Washington, D.C. And for all of those reasons and so many more, I am so thankful to be in this position. And every time I have the microphone, I have to remind people that despite all the chaos and the stress and the turmoil of being in this position and doing this work, I am having so much damn fun being Attorney General. And I am so grateful to everyone here who helped me get in this position. I never would have imagined as a young black kid growing up in the Pierce County that I would be in this position now representing all of Washington State. And so I am so thankful for everyone who put in that work for me. And our fight for democracy only works with people like the folks in this room and for Shasti and her team, because it takes boots on the ground to do that work every day to fight for freedom and for justice and for democracy all across our state. And it is especially great to be with you on Juneteenth, on Freedom Day. It is nice to gather and to be in a room full of celebration and joy and community and to celebrate in particular black excellence in Washington State and in America. Because we all recognize how much harder black people and people of color have had to work to get what we deserve in this country, to get the freedoms that so many people take for granted. And in this moment in 2026, we have an administration that is led by hatred and fear and racism and fascism, and we must fight against that every day. Fight against that hate. We fight against that hate. We fight against that reliance on white nationalism. We fight against the attacks on black history in particular. We fight against the Department of Defense that tries to strip away the legacy of black veterans in America and remove them from their positions of power. We have a Supreme Court that is increasingly attacking the rights that so many of our forefathers and foremothers fought for in this country, eroding, most recently, the crown jewel of the Voting Rights Act and taking away Section 2 of that act. And in this moment, we have to work together to fight back against that. But despite everything that we've seen from Washington, D.C., we have to be clear about one thing, that not a single thing in Washington State has changed in our laws because of Donald Trump. And despite all of our energy that we often direct to Washington, D.C., we have to keep our eye on the ball here at home, in Olympia, in our legislature, in our city councils, in our county governments, in our school boards here in Washington. That is where the work is being done to keep people safe and protected. Nothing has changed because of Donald Trump. If anything, we've built our resilience to fight back harder. We continue to have the best law against discrimination in the country. We continue to have laws that protect our economy and workers and our most vulnerable people. That is what we need to make sure that we keep our focus on. And because what makes us great as a country is one generation after another choosing a brighter future over a chaotic one. And when they put someone in office, like the Attorney General, like a legislative member, like any other position of authority, it is important that we build on the trust that the people have given us and do not operate in fear and do not operate with any sort of timidity. We must take action every single day. And in this moment, being Attorney General, I know I'm a little biased, but I cannot imagine being in any other position, because we get to be the tip of the spear and the shield fighting against what we are seeing from Washington, D.C. And I am with my Democratic Attorney General's colleagues quite often, working in collaboration with them and their teams to make sure that we're pushing for the things that people need: affordability, health care, educational justice, freedom, and civil rights. People want their environment protected. They want transparency and accountability in their elected officials. They want their tax dollars to work for them. They want the super rich to pay their fair share. That, it seems fair in 2026 to me. They want a quality education for their kids and for their grandkids and for the kids yet born. And for the last year, the Republican administration in Washington State and in Washington, D.C. have been fighting hard against those things. On behalf of all of Washingtonians, I have the opportunity to fight back. 60 lawsuits is far more than I would have ever imagined. in a year and a half. I think we'll be at 61 next week. But I don't do this work because I take pleasure in suing the president. I really wish, well, maybe a little bit from time to time. But I truly wish that part of my job was not defending Americans from the President of the United States. But that is the reality that we are facing right now. And for me, the equation is simple. When we see something illegal or unconstitutional from the President, when it impacts Washingtonians, we have an obligation, a duty, an oath to push back and to not accept the status quo. And we have done that time and time again. And what that has meant is that we have successfully protected over $15 billion in cuts to Washington State in just a year and a half. $15 billion for your education, for school districts across Washington State, for programs that keep people safe and protect victims of crime, for environmental and climate resiliency programs. Time and time again, we have sued and we have won at a rate of over 80% across the nation from Democratic Attorney Generals. And we are showing that when we fight, we can win, and we can help people, and we can make sure that their lives have an opportunity for everyone. And there is a lot more work to do in this moment. Time and time again, we are seeing that we have to take action and fight back against what we're seeing from Washington, D.C. And my office works hard to protect consumers, go after businesses that are merging together and making the environment less competitive, and to try to keep people safe by helping our local law enforcement officials as well. But I want to just end on a note, because in this moment as we celebrate Juneteenth, and I know that I am standing here because of so much work that came before me, I was reminded of the importance and the urgency of this fight in 2026, when earlier this year I had the opportunity to go to Selma, Alabama, and commemorate the Bloody Sunday March, and be in Selma and Montgomery with so many other leaders and community members. It was a good reminder for me and an inspiration for me, because I know we are all feeling beat down sometimes and downtrodden this time, and we need to find inspirations. And this time when I was marching across the bridge, this is the second time that I've had the opportunity to do this. And this time, because I'm now in elected office, they put me towards the front. And so I usually shy away from those kind of things, but in this time I really appreciate it, because I started the march and there was an elderly woman who grabbed my arm at the beginning of the march. She asked if she could walk with me across the bridge. And I said, sure, absolutely, ma'am. And she grabbed my arm and we started to walk. And she said, you know, I walked across this bridge when I was 13 years old in 1965. And here she was marching again for me. And what I noticed this time on the march is that when you stand on the foot of the Edmund Pettus Bridge and you look out, you cannot see the other side of the bridge. There is a crest in the middle. It is not flat. And I was remembering and recognizing this time what John Lewis and so many other hundreds of heroes faced that day, that when they started the bridge march, they knew that they were walking into racism. They knew that they were walking into hate. They knew that they were literally putting their lives on the line when they decided to march. But they could not see what was on the other side. But they started that march. And then they got to the crest of that bridge, and they could see on the other side, across the Alabama River. And what they saw was a wall of opposition. What they saw was the Alabama National Guard. What they saw was the Selma local police. What they saw were the dogs and the tear gas canisters. What they saw was fear and hate opposing them. But y'all, what they did next is the most important thing. What they did next changed this country. What they did next was they kept walking. They did not capitulate. They did not cower. They did not turn back. They kept marching for their voting rights and the voting rights of generations to come. They kept marching so I could be in this position and for our children to have a future. They did not turn back in the face of all of that hate. And if John Lewis and countless others, including that 13-year-old girl who marched with me again in 2026, if they did not turn back in 1965 in the face of all that opposition, then we cannot turn back either. We cannot cower in this moment. We cannot put aside our obligation, our duty to fight for justice, for ourselves, for our friends and our neighbors, and for the people that we've never met. Now is the time to keep marching forward because of what so many prior generations have done for us. Thank you. Happy Juneteenth. God bless.
I think he earned that standing ovation on the front end and the back end. Thank you to our amazing Attorney General. Absolutely incredible. All right. We are now heading into the part of the program where we get to award some of our incredible leaders in this party. And to announce and give out the first award, we are bringing up Spokane City Council President Betsy Wilkerson. So, Council President Betsy Wilkerson is a longtime small business owner and community servant who grew up in Spokane and has strong family roots within District 2. She is proud to be the second African-American woman to serve on City Council in Spokane's history and the first female and person of color to serve as council president. She has raised 2 children in this beautiful city and is also a proud and active grandmother of 3 high schoolers. Her mother was a minister and co-founded the Mount Zion Holiness Church. Council President Wilkerson is dedicated to making sure that every resident of this city has the tools to succeed in life and that Spokane remains a city of promise that attracts people from all over to make it their hometown. Thank you for being here. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's just start with it's hot. It's hot. It's hot. We can start with that. Good evening, everyone. I am Betsy Wilkerson, City Council President, and I welcome you to my beautiful city of Spokane this evening. Yes. Now, with that applause for all you church folks, I'm a preacher's daughter, can I get an amen for Juneteenth and Black excellence? Amen. Thank you. Thank you. You know, it is no coincidence that we are gathered here today, this day that symbolizes all the work we still need to do collectively. And there is work, and the work is real. Nobody has not said that today. The work is real. But before I get started on the recognitions, which I'm so honored to be able to do, I want to take a moment to recognize and thank one of my very own electeds, Representative Nathasha Hill. Please don't be offended. She's a badass. She really showed up for us here in the 3rd LD, and we just thank you, Nathasha, because we had some heavy lifting. If you have not been Nathasha-tized yet, just keep working over there in Olympia. Now, with that, I want to go on and recognize one of our first awardees. This award recognizes a distinguished group of leaders who have drafted and passed legislation improving the social, economic, and physical well-being of the communities they serve. We honor those who set a high bar for public service and remain relentless in their pursuit of equity and excellence. This year's honorees have built an extraordinary reputation for transparency, accountability, and unwavering dedication to the constituents they serve. I am deeply honored to bestow the Juneteenth Celebration of Black Excellence Elected Officials Award up on the Washington State Black Caucus. Founded in 2019, this 14-member caucus is the largest legislative Black caucus in the western United States, serving as a powerful voice for progress in our state capital. For years, the LBC has been championing transformative policies that address systemic inequities. Some of their most notable legislative victories include, as we've heard, the covenant home ownership expansion with loan forgiveness, a $300,000 reparation study, and securing $110 million in the 2027 operating budget to fund the Community Reinvestment Plan. Yes. These victories and more have fundamentally improved the lives of Black Washingtonians. In 2025, the LBC convened over 250 people, both in person and virtually, for a historic town hall to discuss policies that protect Black children, strengthen families, support economic progress, and invest in Black-led solutions statewide. Everyone, please join me in welcoming, I almost want a drum roll. Thank you. Join me in welcoming interim LBC Chair, Representative Brandy Donaghy, former LBC Chair Rep. Kristine Reeves, and additional members of the Legislative Black Caucus to the stage to receive this award.
Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Kristine Reeves, and I have the honor and the privilege of serving as the immediate past chair of the Legislative Black Caucus, and am joined on the stage by, as you heard, interim chair Brandy Donaghy, our communications director and Representative Nathasha Hill, and my seatmate, the best seatmate out there, Representative Jamila Taylor from the 30th. And while this is a small group of us, there are 14 members, and as you heard, it makes us the largest and the most powerful Black Caucus in the Western United States. And so I'll keep my remarks brief, but just want to say, while the award that is being received tonight bears the title of elected official, I want to be clear, the truth is, and you've heard it tonight, none of this work happens by itself or alone. Every vote that we cast as a caucus, every policy that we champion, it's built on the shoulders of those who've come before us, the advocates who continue to organize today, and the communities. Most importantly, the communities who trust us with their voices. On this Juneteenth, we are reminded that progress has never been the work of one person. Freedom was not won by a single leader. It wasn't won in a single movement or in a single moment. It's always been the work of a people, working together, sacrificing together for one another, and believing that together we can build a more just future. We often celebrate the names that stand in front of the march, as you heard from our Attorney General. But Juneteenth reminds us to honor the many, many hands that moved the march forward, and as the Attorney General said, that helped us keep walking. The organizers, to our elders, most importantly, our faith leaders, our families, the voters, and the community members who make this work possible. So tonight, on behalf of the Legislative Black Caucus, we'd like to accept this award, not for ourselves, but on behalf of all of those Washingtonians who continue the work of expanding opportunity, advancing equity, and strengthening our democracy, because this award belongs to them. And as we say in the Black Caucus, when you organize, you prioritize, and you stick together, you get real shit done. So let's keep getting shit done. Congratulations. Yeah.
I think he wants a picture of you over there right now. I think that's what he's doing. Oh. Are you going to photo?
What? Are we good? Can we? Okay.
Okay.
Andrew wants a picture.
All right.
I'm not going to take up much more time on this because I have another opportunity to present an award, but want to let folks know, just in recognition of the work that the caucus has done, that first Black Town Hall that we kicked off last year, we're going to be following up with a Black Town Hall on Monday, June 22nd here in Spokane, because we do want to hear from Black community across Eastern Washington. Also just want to thank the party again, Shasti here, and Satin Desiree and the Black committee for putting this on and giving us this recognition. As somebody who got to enter into this Legislative Black Caucus in 2024 as the first Black woman to be elected from Eastern Washington, representing Spokane in the 3rd Legislative District, very much honored and appreciate that, and just want folks to know that we are here to bring all of our voices back to Olympia to ensure nobody's left out, that nobody's left behind. So thank you for the recognition.
Awesome. Thank you so much. All right, hi Chris. To present our next award, our amazing leader, Staten Desiree Arnett. I want to give her a proper introduction. So Staten is, she earned it. Let me say that. She deserves it and she earned it. Staten Desiree Arnett is a community organizer, an equity advocate, and political leader serving as chair of the Washington State Democratic Black Members Caucus and co-chair of the Washington State Democratic Central Committee's Affirmative Action Committee. She is the founder of SAFE, a grassroots organization focused on diversity, equity, inclusion, accessibility, and in community empowerment in rural communities. Through her work in advocacy and education and civic engagement, Staten Desiree has dedicated herself to uplifting marginalized voices, building stronger communities, and advancing equity-centered leadership across Washington State. And she makes our party better, and we are so grateful for her leadership. Staten, come on up and present the next award.
All right, let's find my stuff. Okay, these next awards, this is our Party Leader Awards. So our Party Leader Awards recognizes those of the heartbeat of this movement, the ones doing the work whether anyone is watching or not. Earlier this evening, I spoke about the ancestors who refused to give up hope. We spoke about courage, resilience, and the generations who fought to create opportunities they might never personally benefit from. That legacy did not end with them. It lives on through the people who continue showing up, continue serving, continue building, and continue believing that our communities deserve better. Because Black excellence is not just found in positions or titles. It's found in action. It's found in the people who answer the call to serve, the people who open doors for others, the people who create opportunities, build community, lift up future generations, and keep moving this work forward long after the applause has ended. So our Party Leader Awards honor those individuals. These are leaders who don't wait for recognition. They don't seek spotlight. They show up because the work matters. They serve because community matters. And they carry forward the spirit of those who came before us by helping build a better future for those who will come after us. Tonight, we're honored to recognize 3 individuals from our party who embody exactly what this award stands for. First is someone who shows us what it means to simply never stop showing up. In every space, in every space, in every room, at every table, his presence is definitely felt. Not because he has to be here, but because he chooses to be. He brings energy, he brings people together, and he reminds us that commitment is an action, not a title. And let me tell you, it took me years to realize that this man wasn't a state committee member because he was here for every single state committee meeting. And that is my man, Azim the Dream. Come here, baby. Oh, love you. All right,
Just got a couple words to say.
All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, and I am deeply honored and truly humbled to receive this recognition tonight at the Juneteenth celebration of Black excellence. Juneteenth is more than historic milestones. It is a reminder of resilience and courage and determination of those who come before us, those who dream of freedom, justice, opportunity, even when the odds are against them. This sacrifice they made possible for us to stand before you today. As I accept this award, I do so knowing that no achievement is accomplished alone. I share this honor with my family, my friends, my mentors, my community, my leaders in the community, and encourage them to challenge and support me throughout my journey. For nearly 4 decades, I have had the privilege of serving this community through King County Metro Transit and involvement in organizations dedicated like DDI, Equity Inclusion, labor unions, CBTU. I've been a part of a lot of the organizations, and I thank you. It's always been open doors, creating opportunities, and ensuring that every voice is heard and valued. Black excellence is not just about individual success. It's about lifting as we climb. It's about reaching back to mentor to the next generation, the young folks. It's about showing up, speaking out, and standing together when justice, equity, and opportunities are on the line. Tonight, I am reminded a lesson I have carried throughout my life. Our greatest legacy is not what we achieve for ourselves, but what we have made possible for others. To the young folks in the room, I want you to know that your voice matters. We can't move on without you. Your presence matters. Never allow anyone to define your limits. Walk boldly in your purpose and know that you stand on the shoulders of giants. As we celebrate Juneteenth, let us recommit ourselves to building communities where everyone can thrive, where diversity is embraced, where equity is pursued, and where justice is more than just a promise, it's a reality. Thank you to the Washington State Democratic Party and organizers, and to my good friend, I am humbly accept this award. Thank you.
You're amazing.
I got it.
Okay, this next leader is not only shaping our present, but actively building our future. Through his work in the community and on the school board, he is pouring into the next generation. This man is guiding, protecting, and uplifting our young people while continuing to serve and lead in every space he's called to. And like Azim said, our young people are our future. We need them to keep going. So I would love, and I'm honored, to give this next award to Mr. Shannon Turner.
You're supposed to let me know about this stuff.
No.
Wow. Thank you. Thank you. I am very honored, and I am humbled. What everybody has said up here rings so true. And when you look across this room, you guys are representatives of just what we need to do to move forward. But it doesn't stop there. Kids, my kids, your grandkids, that's the importance of it. My job is to make sure they understand what we have gone through, what our history represents, and how important our history is. That is the key. And that's what we need to do to ensure that it gets through our schools, to our kids. We owe them that. We don't sit here and fight so that they don't have a voice, so that they don't get recognized. They have a voice. They earn that voice. They deserve that voice. They're out there standing, and they need to understand we don't go by fear. We go by strength. We go by commitment. We go as community goes. And that's everything that I try to do, everything I try to bring. I show up, I stand up, I will no longer be silenced. I will no longer stand back in the shadows not to be recognized. I am here. I am loud, I am proud, and I am black. So, again, thank you.
You are great. There you go.
I'm going to get you, you know that.
Okay, and last but definitely absolutely not least, This leader is someone who doesn't just speak about justice, she lives it. She stands in the gaps of those who are overlooked, underheard, and pushed aside. She fights for people that many forget, and she does it with honesty, courage, and a heart that refuses to turn away, even when it's hard, even when it costs her something. And I just want to say, on a personal note, it has been an honor to witness her courage and her heart up close. This woman shows us what it truly means to serve. And this last award goes to Miss Mary Williams. Hey. Now, unfortunately, Mary was not able to make it here in time. It breaks my heart, but myself and the Black Caucus are going to accept this award on her behalf, and she will get it as soon as she gets here. So thank you. You know, tonight we celebrate not only what these leaders have done, but what they represent, the very best of us. So please, again, join me in honoring this year's recipients of the Party Leaders Award.
Thank you. Congratulations to all of the winners. Thank you so much. We've already heard from her, but she is the power that has brought us all here together in this beautiful city of Spokane. We are so proud to get to do this in your district. The incredible Nathasha Hill serves as representative for Washington's 3rd Legislative District, which is where we are right now. Yes, this beautiful place. Born and raised in Spokane's Hilliard neighborhood, Nathasha was the first in her family to graduate from college. A graduate of Rogers High School. I'm not going to say the year, unless you want me to. It was not that long ago. And a Running Start student. She earned an AA degree from Spokane Community College, a bachelor's in sociology from the University of Washington, and a law degree from Southwestern Law School in Los Angeles. Nathasha has represented people from diverse backgrounds across both California and Washington. She has served as a moot court coach at Gonzaga Law School for 4 years, and in 2024, she served as interim editor for The Black Lens, a newspaper focused on Spokane's Black community. She is also a licensed broker and small business owner. Nathasha has 2 children who live here in Spokane, South Hill. Let's bring back up Representative Nathasha Hill for tonight's last award.
Well, I have the honor of presenting the 2026 Community Vanguard Award. And in recognition and celebration of Black excellence, it would be amiss for us not to recognize our own civil rights leader, who unfortunately passed away much too soon, the great late Sandy Williams. So we're gathering not only just to remember Sandy as a person here in Spokane. She came to Spokane through Fairchild Air Force Base with her family, but also to celebrate the visionary that she was. And her life transformed Spokane and challenged us to become better versions of ourselves. Sandy believed in a simple but profound idea that every person deserves dignity, every community deserves a voice, and every person deserves to know they belong. For more than 4 decades, Sandy dedicated her life to civil rights, racial justice, and community empowerment. She was an organizer, a journalist, a filmmaker, an educator, an advocate, and a truth teller. She spent her life lifting up voices that too often went unheard and shined a light on inequities that too many preferred to ignore. Sandy's activism was deeply rooted in grassroots. She did not wait for institutions to act. She organized our neighbors. She built coalitions. She created platforms, and she brought people together across lines of race, class, faith, gender, sexuality, and geography. She understood that lasting change begins in community, around kitchen tables, in church basements, at community meetings, and through the relationships we build with one another. And one of the most enduring examples of this commitment was her work alongside community leaders like Pastor Walter Kendricks, who is here today with us, in founding Spokane Community Against Racism, also known as SCAR, at a time when many preferred to pretend racism was not a Spokane problem. Sandy and her fellow organizers confronted it directly together. They built a movement dedicated to education, to advocacy, accountability, and coalition building. SCAR challenged hate, created opportunities for dialogue, and helped generations of Spokane residents understand and fight racism. And some of the folks who've went through SCAR and represented us in protests here recently, which were 2 of our Spokane 3 that were recently convicted on unprecedented conspiracy charges by this overreaching federal regime. Jack Archer and Justice for All were part of SCAR, are part of SCAR. Jack Archer is currently a co-ED with Pastor Kendricks. The other Spokane 3 member, Bajan Mavawala. These are, like we heard from April Sims today and from our Attorney General Nick Brown, these are the kind of things that are happening right here in Spokane, and we're seeing it happen across the state where they are rounding up people for exercising their constitutional rights. And so for Sandy to have given us something to speak directly from on a platform where unfortunately 2 of our organizers have been taken out by these convictions, we're still fighting with them. And that perspective is what made her leadership courageous and transformative. Others saw barriers and Sandy saw possibilities. She understood that justice required both. And that's why she founded the Black Lens, which you heard I had the opportunity to help relaunch as interim director. This is a Black community paper, independent journalism, that partnered with the Spokesman Review in order to distribute it to, I think they have over 60,000 members, subscriptions, and it goes out once a month. That was done to honor this legacy that Sandy's left us. What we're asking is, and what she asked us, is how do we build a city where opportunity is not determined by your race or your zip code, of your gender or your sexuality or your circumstances? And the answer became in the form of SCAR, in the form of the Carl Maxey Center, named for a legendary civil rights attorney from Spokane as well, named Carl Maxey. Maxey spent his life fighting discrimination and opening doors that had been closed. And Sandy carried that torch into a new generation, creating an institution dedicated to racial and economic equity, community empowerment, and the belief that Spokane can do better. The connection between Carl Maxey and Sandy Williams tells the story of Spokane's civil rights movement. Carl fought to open the doors. Sandy helped ensure everyone could walk through them. Carl challenged systems of exclusion. Sandy challenged us to imagine what true belonging looks like. Together, their legacy reminds us that civil rights work is not simple. And it's not just about removing barriers. It's about building communities where people are valued, where they're seen, where they're respected and empowered to thrive. And the story of Spokane's progress towards justice simply can't be told without talking about Sandy Williams. Through SCAR, through the Black Lens, through the Carl Maxey Center, and through countless community campaigns, she helped create infrastructures for equity in our region. Sandy dreamed of a Spokane where our differences are not feared, but they're embraced. A Spokane where every neighborhood matters, where every child sees themselves reflected in leadership, where people can bring their full selves into community without fear. A Spokane where equity is not merely a goal, but a lived reality. And we've been able to see examples of that today with our president, City Council President Betsy Wilkerson here, with myself being elected as the first Black woman. And it would be also remiss for me to not mention that Representative Kristine Reeves was also one of the first Black Spokane County party chair. She did not get the best treatment here, and it's not that things haven't changed somewhat, but we still have work to do. And as the first Black woman to come into our state legislature, and for me to join that, I think it's over 10 years that Rep. Reeves had been there, and to come into this and need mentorship, and need somebody who could see me the way Sandy saw our community, I was able to meet the first Black woman attorney that I have had the opportunity to have that relationship with in Representative Jamila Taylor. Sandy's vision continues through the institutions she built, the leaders she mentored, the movement she strengthened, and the countless people she inspired, including the woman who sang for us today, Alethea Dumas, who is also one of her students and mentees and also works with SCAR. Many leaders do leave behind accomplishments, but Sandy left behind something even greater. She gave us tools that we could teach our children. She left her daughter and her mother, who came to Spokane to ensure that we were okay. And we get to celebrate the life of her mother, Miss Wilhelmina Williams, next weekend at her service. And so when I stand here and I honor Sandy and her legacy, I recognize how we stand on the shoulders of our ancestors. When I think about generational wealth, I think about how important it is that we get it passed down. The most valuable thing we can give the next generation, knowledge. Generational knowledge is generational wealth, and the value of that is more than the millions or billions of dollars that we're having our Attorney General fight and protect for our state. So just remember that this isn't a call to admire accomplishments. It's a call to action for each and every one of us to remember where we came from, the folks that stood before we did, and to stand up. It's a call to continue to work the work, to keep building bridges, to keep telling the truth, to keep expanding opportunity, to keep embracing the full diversity of our community, and to keep creating the Spokane that Sandy Williams, Carl Maxey, Pastor Walter Kendricks, City Council President Betsy Wilkerson, and so many others have envisioned as a Spokane where everyone belongs. That's our motto, and I made eye contact because I know we have work to do. We can get there. So rest in power to Sandy. Your vision lives on, your work continues, and Spokane is better because you were here. And I get the honor of having Pastor Walter Kendricks come up and accept this award on Sandy and her legacy and the work she did in our community's behalf. I'm going to give us a photo op.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Representative Hill. She told the story about Sandy. She told it in ways that almost made me cry. Sandy, and let me start here. I accept this award, first of all, on behalf of a three-headed, not monster, but I try to make it a monster as we fight battles here in Spokane. I accept the award on behalf of SCAR, Spokane Community Against Racism, on behalf of the Carl Maxey Center, on behalf of our Executive Director, Ms. Jaleesa Winkler, and I also accept this award on behalf of, to me, the most important cog in that three-headed monster, and that's the Morning Star Missionary Baptist Church. The civil rights movement began in a church. The struggle for justice continues in a church and also here in this great city of Spokane. It boggles my mind that what people were fighting for in 1956, 1965, 1972, I'm fighting for now in 2026. The fight continues, and I want you all to understand that no one will actually be free until all of us are free. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Pastor. And I feel Sandy in the space, so thank you very much. Thank you. When we sold out this event, I didn't realize it was going to be truly the hottest event of the weekend. And so I keep praying for these clouds to give us all a break. So we have the space for a little bit longer, and so I hope that you all will take the time to get to know other people that you maybe don't know in this space, to celebrate Black excellence that we are so blessed to have in this incredible Washington state. Our Washington is truly the best Washington because of the leadership that we have in this state. So thank you, every single one of you, for being here tonight. Congratulations to all the awardees. Thank you to our leaders, to the Black Legislative Caucus, to our Black Caucus, the state party. Thank you so much. I do want to just say, at all of the tables, we have history about different Black leaders in history here in Washington state. So I hope you'll take a look at those. Thank you to our Attorney General Nick Brown, to President April Sims. Thank you to everybody. Have a good evening, and let's have a great state convention. Thank you. Hi, friends. Hey, Chris.
Well, the other plan is
I was like, Shasti must feel like